Hey, it's Maria from Still Dreaming Homestead. Glad that you're checking in today. Well, I had a dream last night and it reminded me of something that happened to Jason and myself 46 years ago. I don't remember if Jason was 3 or if he was 4. He was in little preschool. He went 2 days a week, and he loved it so much. He loved playing. And if you're from the Riddle area, you might remember Mrs. Musto. She had the little preschool. Well, my friend Heidi Swinehart and I both had our kids in it. So Stephanie Swinehart and of course, Jason Weathers. They were going to have a field trip. Now, I had remembered how much I loved field trips when I was a kid. And maybe you did too. I could think of some wonderful ones. If you think about it, would you leave me a comment about one of the field trips that's most memorable to you? I would really enjoy that. Sorry, I've been pretty sick and talking makes me cough. Well, I'll tell you about this one. They were going to get to go to Wildlife Safari in Winston, Oregon. And we were all very excited. We signed up so they could have elephant rides, and we would do the drive-through, and we would do the walk-through. And I really don't know if Jason was more excited or I was. I just wanted him to have so much fun. So this is what happened. We did the drive-through, and that was very fun. These little tiny kids had really not seen these animals up close before, and so it was really exciting for them, which made it great for us. Then we went into the walkthrough, and it was time for elephant rides. Well, most of the kids were very excited, but there were 3 kids that were not excited. I don't remember who the other 2 were, but Jason was one of them. He did not want to ride on an elephant. And in my mind, I just knew how sad he would be if he didn't get to do that. Later on, he would feel bad. Now that I'm older, I know that's probably not true. That was more me. Well, anyhow, we all worked and talked to those 3 little kids and told them how much fun it would be for them to ride the elephant. And we talked them into it. But there was some things that weren't very good about this elephant ride. Number one, the person that was leading the elephant was very impatient. For some reason, he didn't get notified that there would be this little group of children that were going to go on the rides. And he, like I said, he was impatient. So they had a very large elephant. You know, I would have liked to have seen a smaller one. But anyhow, and elephants are big anyhow, but this was a big one. And he had other stuff he wanted to be doing, so he kept whacking it on the rear with a little staff of some sort to make it go a little faster, because he had other things that he needed to do, I guess. That did not really impress me very much. But after many of us talking to these children, Mrs. Musto herself said that she would ride the elephant with the little kids if they would go with her, the little ones that were afraid. And so they all loved Mrs. Musto, and they got on with her. Now, elephant saddles are different. They've got like a bar in the back and a bar in the front, but a whole bunch open on the side. So Mrs. Musto was on with the kids, and I had two little children that I was holding their hands watching, but I was really watching carefully because Jason was on there. And then I noticed it. I noticed that that saddle no longer looked straight. It looked just slightly off. And so I turned to the other parents and I said, does the saddle look like it is not straight anymore? And they looked and they said, yeah, maybe. And then they went on talking. Well, I was only 23 or 24 then, and I didn't have great confidence in myself. And so I just kept watching. I thought, they're not worried, I shouldn't be worried either. And as they're walking along through this oval where they were going, I noticed pretty soon that it wasn't just like this, but it was more like this. And I turned to those other parents and I said, that saddle is sliding. And they looked, and I looked. They agreed, and suddenly, I mean it was fast, that saddle went from sideways all the way under that great big elephant, and everybody dropped under its belly. That was terrifying. I let go of the other children and I started speed walking there as silently and as quickly as I could, ready to pull those children out. I was afraid the elephant would scare and stomp them. But Mrs. Musto, she was amazing. She got those kids out from under there before I could even get there. And then when we talked to the handler afterwards, he was amazed that nobody screamed. None of the parents, Mrs. Musto, the children, sorry, none of us screamed. And he said that he was so thankful for that because it already spooked the elephant with that sliding motion, and he was afraid that if there had been screaming, the elephant could have tried to run and possibly stomped the people underneath, the children and Mrs. Musto. Well, I was mad. That was negligence. That handler had not tightened that saddle sufficiently. And I wanted to go complain to the office, but this was a little Christian preschool and everybody else was in disagreement with me. And they said, they're all okay. It was an accident. And because of my lack of confidence in myself, I did not go complain. That was a mistake. That person needed to be held accountable. But after that, because, I was traumatized, and Jason had got scared, of course, going underneath. I mean, he was 3 or 4 years old. I gave one of my extra children that I was taking care of to somebody else. And we continued walking around the park. And pretty soon, I heard Jason scream. And I turned around, I looked at him, what's the matter? And a bee had flown up his little shorts that he was wearing and stung him on the back of the leg. Well, at that point, I turned over the other child to somebody else, and I just was with Jason. And I remember thinking, this is the worst field trip ever. Well, it's just a memory. Everything worked out okay. But go by your gut feeling. If you feel like something is not right, pay attention to it. God gave us those feelings for a reason. Maybe if I had said something when I noticed that man whacking that elephant to rush it, or maybe if I had acknowledged Jason's and the other children's strong hesitancy to get on that elephant, we would have never had them in such a dangerous position. But I praise God, everyone was okay. And I am thankful that I get to tell you, listen to that voice that God has given you. And I'm working to listen to the voice that God's given me, because it's for our good. Well, it's Maria from Still Dreaming Homestead. I want to pray blessings on you and yours, in your house, out of your house, in the day and the night. Whatever you do, keep dreaming. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing that. And when you do, there'll be a bell that comes up. If you push that little bell, you'll get notifications every time, supposedly, that I put out a new video. All right. God bless. Have a wonderful day.